Hi, I'm Tarrant.
And I'm Stella. This is Meeple University with Hand of Fate Ordeals.
In this video, we're going to show you a couple of sample turns and go through the thought process on how those worked to help you get a good feel for how this game actually flows. If you'd like to learn the rules, you can go to our How to Play video, which is linked in the description for this video. I'm going to run through a couple of sample turns to give you an idea of the flow of the game. Consider it's Green's turn, and this is the hand that Green has drawn. First we do the fatigue phase, where he or she must spend 2 effort or discard those cards. The player automatically gains 1 effort for the effect on this action, so we'll tap that to show I've used it, and that counts for 1 of the effort. The other one, I have to play an effort up into my played area. I've got 6 cards worth of effort here, but 2 of them have text effects that I don't want to resolve immediately. So I'm just going to pick one of the basic ones and play it up here. Now I've dealt with my fatigue phase. I can also play my forage card to take a food, and I can freely play this flourish card now because it has no bonus effects, so there's no benefit for timing that action specifically. I know that I've spent that effort, so I'll just cover it over to avoid forgetting that. So I've got 2 efforts so far, with 3 more to come. Now I move to the explore phase, and I want to go exploring out on the board. So I'll spend a food to move over here. Sorry about that red. To move over here, we flip this over, and it takes 3 usage cubes. But I don't really want to go and fight at the Dead King's Hall. I want to keep moving, and it's not an ambush, so I can do that. I spend another food, and I move over here to the Test of Strength, which takes a single cube. I read the effect on Test of Strength. It's a single-use item that says if you have 2 or more soldier cards bound to your weapon, gain 5 victory points and 2 token shards. Well, I have that, so I'm going to use this location. I meet the requirements, I'll take my 5 victory points and my 2 token shards. Profitable turn. Now, I still have some cards here that can be played. And this one here, Ascend, now is a good time to play it because its effect, in addition to 2 effort, says that if 6 or more encounters are currently revealed, I gain 2 victory points. And I've just revealed the last 2, so now I meet this condition. So I get another 2 victory points by hanging onto this card and playing it later. Now I go to the acquire step. I've got 4 effort left to buy cards with, and I can only buy soldiers and equipment. So I can't afford this soldier because it's worth 6. I can't buy this trickster because this is not a trickster location, but I can buy this equipment. So I'm going to spend 3 effort to buy the health elixir. It's a side card, so it has to go into the slot where my guild ring currently is. So I stash my guild ring, I'll destroy that, and I'll get its victory points, which is 1 for each different non-basic card archetype in my deck. And that is in this case, I've got all 3 different archetypes, so 3 points that I gain. Then I destroy that, and I'm left with just this card. It gives me an extra effort that I can't really use to buy anything, and its bonus effect, move a card from your discard pile to the top of your deck. Well, I'll play the card for that effect. I'll look through my discard pile. Push of Luck might be useful. I'll put it on top of my deck. That's the end of my acquire phase, and I move to the rest phase where I discard all of these cards and draw 5 new ones for the next round. We'll go through another example, this time involving combat. To start the player's turn, this is his or her weapon and this is his or her hand. Because neither of these have a text effect, they can be played immediately with no consideration for timing. So that gives 3 effort. And these cards can't be played because this weapon is already at its binding limit. The player must spend 2 of these efforts in order to keep these cards bound to the weapon. Next, the player wants to move to where there's a combat available. He or she has no food, but may still spend 1 health in order to take a move. The player then removes a usage cube and activates this event. Here, you fight 4 minions, but at the start of the combat, may choose to discard up to 2 and replace them. And if we look at the draw that's come out, there's some pretty high-powered minions here. So that's what the player will choose to do. Discard those 2 minions and replace them. Next, look at the player's weapon effect. This weapon has no power, but it lets you automatically destroy 1 minion if you have more than 1 minion of the same power. So in this case, there's a pair of 2s. So the player will destroy the 2 of scales, but gains none of the benefits for doing this. None of the victory points and none of the shards. So we have 3 minions left and we've used the weapon. Next, take the strike bonus of 3, drawing 3 cards, and then binding them in any order to the weapon. In this case, only one of them has a text effect, which is this one, which lets you draw a card when binding it. So the player does that. Now it's time to start applying these onto these minions. This card has 2 power. This card has 1 power plus 1 if it's bound to a heavy weapon, which it is. So this is also worth 2. So these 2 cards are enough to defeat the 4 of Plague. The player has 3 cards remaining, worth a total of 3. And because we're in the second phase of the game and the Jack has been defeated, the 3 of Scales has 1 protection. So this is not enough to defeat the 3 of Scales. You would need 3 power plus an extra card. So instead, the player is going to apply these to the 2 of Plague, spending these 2 here, which is enough to defeat it. That is the end of the first round of combat. The player moves all of these assigned cards into the played area and resolves the bonuses for defeating these enemies. In this case, a total of 3 token shards, a total of 5 victory points, and each of these has an effect that if you defeat it, you may destroy 1 card from your hand or discard pile. The player looks through the discard pile, likes most of the cards there, likes most of the cards in hand, so chooses not to do those and simply doesn't destroy any cards. This leaves 1 minion left. At this point, the player would usually have the choice to either push on or flee, but the player has no food, so is not allowed to push on and must flee. That means the player draws 1 pain card, because this is a number 1 here, and gains 1 curse as a result, placing it into the discard pile. This is then discarded. The enemy is discarded, and the player's explore phase has come to an end. The player also discards unspent cards that were bound to the weapon, and reactivates the weapon. Now we proceed to the acquire phase. These were the cards that were bound to the weapons, so we'll put them off to the side. The player still has 1 effort available, and can play this flourish card to move up to 3 effort. The player can also now bind these attack cards onto the axe, because there are no longer any cards there after the combat. So we'll look at these. We'll take Precise Attack, because this allows you to draw 1 card, which gives the player another effort to play. Of the other ones, both of these effects occur after defeating a minion, so we'll choose the one that looks more powerful and place it there. Now the player has 4 effort with which to spend on one of these types of cards. And looking at the cards available, there's a trickster here, so the player will spend 3 effort to tip the odds, placing that into his or her discard pile. Now we move to rest. The player discards all cards from the played area and unplayed, and draws a new 5 cards, shuffling the deck to make up the remaining cards like so.
And that's a couple of samples of turns from Hand of Fate Ordeals.
Hopefully these helped you get the flow of the game, but if you'd like to learn the rules in full, you can check out our complete how to play video, which is linked in the description to this video.
And finally, If you'd like to hear more from us, please click the meeple on the corner to hear more from us.